On December 22, 1944, SS Obergruppenführer Sepp Dietrich stood confidently at his command post, examining maps showing his 6th SS Panzer Army's 60-kilometer advance into American lines. "Americans are not soldiers," he told his staff with contempt. "They are merchants playing at war. When real battle comes, they run." 800 kilometers south in Nancy, General George Patton studied the same situation with cold fury. His Third Army was about to execute the most audacious maneuver in modern military history. In 48 hours, Patton told his commanders, "We will pivot this entire army 90 degrees and strike a blow the Germans will never forget." 4 days later, Dietrich's smugness had evaporated. His invincible SS Army faced encirclement, and the American merchants he'd mocked were rewriting the rules of blitzkrieg. This is how German arrogance transformed into American triumph in history's largest Western Front battle. At 5:30 a.m. on December 16, 1944, 1,000 German guns shattered the Ardennes dawn. Operation Wacht am Rhein, Hitler's desperate final gamble, had begun. 200,000 German soldiers, 600 tanks, and 1,900 guns crashed into an 80-kilometer front defended by just 4 American divisions. Hitler had chosen the Ardennes deliberately, the same route that crushed France in 1940. The American command considered this sector quiet, stationing inexperienced units there. The 106th Infantry Division had arrived just 2 weeks earlier. The 28th was recovering from brutal Hurtgen Forest fighting. Initial results seemed brilliant. American units retreated in confusion. Entire battalions surrendered. Germans advanced 20 kilometers the first day. Berlin erupted in euphoria. Goebbels prepared proclamations of a second Dunkirk. Wehrmacht generals who'd retreated for months suddenly believed victory possible. But at Allied headquarters in Versailles, Eisenhower recognized something different. The Germans had bet everything. This wasn't a tactical diversion, but a strategic gamble that could either prolong the war or end it. So Eisenhower made his boldest decision. He called Patton. Hitler's plan, born of desperation in autumn 1944, shocked even seasoned staff officers. German forces would smash through the Ardennes, cross the Meuse, capture Antwerp, and split Allied armies. "If we take Antwerp," Hitler declared, "the British and Americans must make separate peace. Then we throw everything against the Bolsheviks." On paper, it looked grandiose. 3 armies, 5th Panzer, 6th SS Panzer, and 7th Army, would cover 150 kilometers to Antwerp in 4 days. Hitler concentrated the Reich's last reserves, 12 panzer divisions, including elite SS units. But generals saw obvious problems. Germans lacked fuel. Each division had supplies for only 150 kilometers. The Luftwaffe could field 800 aircraft against 4,000 Allied. Most importantly, these weren't the inexperienced Americans defeated at Kasserine in 1943. Field Marshal Model called the operation grand fantasy, but Hitler remained adamant. "This is our last chance. Either we break them now or lose entirely." By December 15th, Germans had secretly concentrated massive forces. Facing them, Americans had only 83,000 soldiers. The stage was set for disaster. The December 16th artillery barrage was the heaviest since D-Day. Private James McNamara, of the 99th Division, recalled, "I'd been in infantry 2 years, but never seen such hell. The ground jumped, trees fell like matchsticks. It felt like the world ending." German armor infiltrated weak spots while infantry mopped up strong points. The 106th Division's 2 regiments, the 422nd and 423rd, were encircled near Schönberg. By December 19th, 7,000 Americans surrendered, the largest U.S. capitulation in Europe. But not all Americans panicked. At Bastogne, the 101st Airborne prepared for siege. When Germans demanded surrender, Brigadier General McAuliffe's response became legendary. "Nuts." Meanwhile, SS Obersturmbannführer Joachim Peiper's battle group advanced rapidly until reaching Stavelot, just 10 kilometers from massive American fuel depots. But American engineers had rigged every bridge with explosives. When Germans approached, the Americans blew the bridge over the Amblev River, trapping Peiper. By day's end, German momentum was slowing. Heroic American resistance, destroyed bridges, and fuel shortages were taking their toll. On December 19th at 10:30 a.m., Patton received Eisenhower's call. The situation was critical. Germans had broken through 60 kilometers. 2 divisions were destroyed, Bastogne besieged. "How long to turn your army north?" Eisenhower asked. 48 hours, Patton replied instantly. What Patton proposed seemed impossible. His Third Army was deployed eastward, preparing to cross the Saar. Now it must pivot 90 degrees and march 150 kilometers north on icy roads. Any other general would need a week. Patton promised 2 days. "All right," Eisenhower said. "Do it." Patton hung up and smiled at his staff. "You haven't seen what a real army can do. You're about to." For 2 hours, Third Army headquarters buzzed with activity. Planning officers drew routes for hundreds of columns. Communications officers organized radio nets. Supply officers calculated fuel needs. At 1 p.m., Patton gathered division commanders. "We face the war's toughest operation. We must turn the entire army north and strike in 48 hours. Who thinks this impossible?" No hands rose. "Excellent. 4th Armored to Arlon, 26th Infantry to Luxembourg, 80th Infantry to Mersch. March begins at 1800. Questions?" At 6 p.m., Patton's Third Army began history's fastest strategic redeployment. Across frozen French and Luxembourg roads moved 133,000 soldiers, 800 tanks, 500 guns, 15,000 vehicles. The night of December 20th was hellish. Temperatures dropped to 15 degrees C. Roads became ice rinks. Columns moved in darkness with only blackout lights. But nobody stopped. "Patton said 48 hours, so 48 hours it will be," wrote Sergeant Mike O'Connor. Movement occurred only at night to avoid German reconnaissance. By December 20th at 2 p.m., the 4th Armored Division's vanguard reached Arlon, just 30 kilometers from Bastogne, 150 kilometers in 20 hours. In 36 hours, Patton had moved an entire army. German command had no idea disaster approached from the south. On December 22nd at 6 a.m., silence broke as Patton's tanks roared forward. The Germans were stunned. "Where did they get an entire army?" Dietrich shouted. 3 days ago, they were running. The first clash at Martelange saw classic American combined arms tactics. Instead of frontal assault, tanks encircled from 3 directions while artillery fired direct rounds, and infantry advanced under smoke. Within 2 hours, Martelange was liberated. German losses, 340 killed, wounded, 180 captured. American, 23 killed, 67 wounded. By noon, 4th Armored had advanced 8 kilometers toward Bastogne. The fiercest fighting erupted as Germans rushed in reinforcements. But Americans had advantages in numbers and logistics. When a Sherman was knocked out, another replaced it. When a German tank died, it stayed dead. By day's end, the Bastogne ring was pierced. The 101st Airborne was saved. December 23rd brought clear weather, allowing American air power to enter. P-47 Thunderbolts appeared at 8:30 a.m. each, carrying rockets and bombs. German columns stood out perfectly against snow. On the first day, Germans lost 89 tanks and 200 vehicles. Patton ordered the offensive expanded. The battle for Diekirch became key. Whoever held it controlled German communications. Americans attacked from unexpected directions, fighting house by house. By Christmas Day, Diekirch was liberated. On Christmas morning, Patton arrived at 4th Armored's command post. "The Germans have given us the best Christmas present," he said. "They've come out of fortifications to be destroyed in the open." In 4 days, 3rd Army had advanced 20 kilometers, liberated Bastogne, and seized key positions. German initiative was gone forever. Dietrich's 6th SS Panzer Army had lost half its tanks and a third of its men. "The Americans no longer fight as they used to," Dietrich reported to Hitler. "They've become faster, bolder, ruthless. Their Patton has outplayed us all." Indeed, Patton's tactics were revolutionary: speed and aggression instead of cautious preparation. "Speed is everything," Patton repeated. "While Germans think, we act. While they regroup, we attack." By month's end, the German bulge had become a trap. On December 27th, German headquarters bordered on panic. What seemed triumphant advance was now catastrophe. On January 8, 1945, Hitler authorized retreat, his hardest decision ever. 22 days of fighting had failed. German losses were catastrophic: 67,000 casualties, 700 tanks, 1,600 aircraft, the Reich's last reserves. American losses: 19,000 men, 733 tanks. But unlike Germany, America could replace these within weeks. Field Marshal Rundstedt's assessment became the Third Reich's epitaph. "After the Ardennes, we have no resources for strategic operations. We can only retreat and await the end." The Battle of the Bulge revealed how German contempt became catalyst for defeat. They fought outdated perceptions, not reality. In 2 years, Americans had transformed from novices to professionals. Patton symbolized this new American philosophy, fighting not by tradition, but by effectiveness. "I'm not fighting German generals," he said. "I'm fighting German soldiers, and mine are better." The pragmatic American approach proved stronger than German military romanticism. While Germans dreamed of grand victories, Americans methodically dismantled the Wehrmacht piece by piece. The German joke about American merchants proved prophetic in unexpected ways. Americans did approach war like business, with calculation, planning, attention to detail, and maximum efficiency. The result? Merchants crushed warriors. Technology beat tradition. Future defeated past. In December 1944, in the Ardennes forests, a new world was born, one where pragmatism trumped tradition, where adaptation mattered more than heritage, where the new world finally surpassed the old. That world endures today, shaped by principles first proven when American merchants showed German warriors that mockery and contempt are poor substitutes for respect and reality.